Hi,
Great.
welcome back. Today we've got Justin Liu here from Zero AD. He has a long history in e-commerce and online retail, brings this wealth of knowledge to Australia, has recently relocated here from the UK, and he has created and runs an agency that specialises in e-commerce. So given how important e-commerce is at the moment, we thought we'd invite Justin in to have a chat and give us and impart some of the knowledge to many businesses that find the digital space quite scary. So welcome, Justin.
Yeah, cheers, Rana. Thank you
Yeah,
very
thanks for
much for
joining us,
having me.
Justin.
Cheers, Andrew. Yeah, thanks
So
for having me on. And
no,
after
keep
you,
going.
I was just going to
So,
say thanks for having me on, and yeah, it's an interesting time, isn't it? So,
and how are you finding it at the moment? How
good. Yeah, busy, and a lot of people are kind of. It's a strange time to. It's a good way to kind of meet people. Having just been in Australia for 6 months now, that I'm getting in contact with people. Kind of, it's easy to Zoom people and just spending more time with people. And the barriers have come down a lot because of the tech. So it's been good for me, just as a way of talking. So yeah, and it's an emotional time as well,
Yeah.
and people are up against it, and it's tricky. So and we're kind of got a lot of family and stuff. A lot of my family are here, but Claire's family are in the UK, so we're kind of we're a little bit in both places at the same time, and because of the tech, we can be. So it's been good. Yeah, I mean, we're in the best spot in the world, aren't we? So.
Yeah, we certainly are. And I guess luckily we have a lot of technology these days that is helping not only us to communicate with our families, but also with our clients, and to continue doing business. So how are you finding? Are you finding that a lot of clients in Australia are now thinking more seriously about technology and going into the online space and offering, I guess, services and products in different ways rather than just bricks and mortar?
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of people that are running businesses have, it's been on their radar, and whether they've done anything about it or not is kind of depending on how what the strategy's been. But yeah, this is definitely forcing. I mean, for business owners, it's forcing your customers online, which is a big deal. It's something that is, I think, stopped a lot of companies kind of saying, well, if we put the effort into this, who's to say that anyone's going to visit the website? Whereas now, I mean, unfortunately, we've got a bit of a captive audience. So if you can get yourself online, then people will see you more so than they would have done a month ago.
Totally, because we've got more time on our hands, and we're on our phones most of the day these days.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
even when our wives are telling us not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the internet's a fickle place, so it's and it moves really fast. So I mean, I've talked about it before that the internet is in dog years, and things happen 4 times faster than they do in real life. So you're not too late ever, and you can always switch, and that's where the fickleness comes into it. YouTube, I think, started off as a dating website. So
Oh, wow.
you never know, and you can't really, you can't really, everyone's learning as they're going along. So there's no wrong or right way of doing anything, which is kind of pretty cool.
Yeah. And how are you finding with businesses at the moment? Are you finding that they feel a bit like they've left it too late? They should have maybe moved their business online before, and now they're feeling a little bit scared and worried about how much it's going to cost and how long it takes, and just all those sort of questions around a space that is quite new and also quite daunting for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think you always feel as though you've missed out on something when you decide that you're going to do something new, and it doesn't really, like I said, it's not too late. And business owners are probably used to these types of things. You're always taking risks, and you're always on a knife edge, and you're always making decisions that could could be the make or break of you. So yeah, now as much as any time, it's worth kind of looking at what your options are online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
So on that, what would be your sort of top tips on sort of getting either a website or an e-commerce sort of website that's easy to set up, to put your products on, to get to the customer, or get at least the products ready for you to ship or to deliver? Where should people go, and what are the options that they have?
Yeah, well, I mean, doing websites is pretty much one of the most long-standing documented things on the internet, because the geeks that set it up in the first place always ran blogs and talked about how to build websites. So it's not a cop-out. If you Google it, you will find it. So, but yeah, I mean, I think start off small and start off with the things that are achievable for you. I mean, I always say, try and automate the things that you don't like doing. So if you don't particularly like picking the phone up to people, then compile an email list and get yourself registered on Google Local as a business, so that you come up on the maps. And that's quite a quick and easy win in terms of getting Google results. It's just registering with them. It does take a while to get a postcard through. So if you can do it with a phone call, they'll need to verify who you are and stuff.
Oh, right. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, if you can get on there as soon as possible. And while we're on the subject of that, if you can start getting reviews, then that really helps. And I mean, even without having a website, if you've got your Google Local profile looking good, that's a really, really good start, and it doesn't cost you anything apart from time. So yeah, I mean, the DIY e-commerce stuff, there's heaps around, and it's well documented, and it's cheap. It's just a case of deciding how much your time's worth, and whether you want to suddenly become a techie. And a lot of companies will pass that over to their marketing people. The marketing people will be like, just because I can make a banner doesn't mean that I can build a website and run campaigns and that kind of stuff. So and business owners are the same, or they give it to their niece or nephew to do because they're vaguely computer literate and stuff like that. But it's like running another shop. It's like having another physical shop, and potentially the costs involved can be the same. I mean, you wouldn't think twice about spending, well, you might do, depending on who you are, but you might spend 50 grand on a shop fit, and get people in and do the new floor and do the shelving and stuff like that. I mean, I've worked in retail for a long time, and 50 grand will just go. Whereas there's a psychological barrier that if you say to someone, you're going to spend 50 grand on a bunch of pixels on a screen, then it's like, oh, wow, okay, why? So, I could get my cousin to do it, type thing. So, and, a lot of people start off doing that and realize that, they have got a network of people that they can, that's how I started. I have a network of people that I knew needed websites. So you can do that with your reviews as well, is just tap up all your existing customers and just say, please just help us out with a review. It just takes 5 minutes. And get your friends and family to review your company, and just kind of those stars are really important.
So does that help with search engine optimization, having those reviews on Google?
Yeah, if you display them in your website, yeah, for sure. But even just normal, no SEO at all. The Google do prioritize their own services. So
Yeah, sure.
if you can get Google reviews, or if you can use YouTube, or just have a look at all the companies that Google own and just use those.
Yes.
So because they'll always prioritize them. So yeah.
Interesting.
Good tips there. We'll have to make a list of the Google companies and get involved.
Yeah.
If we're not already, I mean, most people use Google to a fairly good extent as it is, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, they've kind of got it sewn up. But I mean, Facebook's also good for communicating with the customers, and And you can sell through Facebook, and you can sell through Instagram as well. So there's heaps. I mean, yeah, carry on.
So on that, so for someone who is maybe got a very small, clothing shop or a giftware shop, is that something they should be looking at doing? Putting their products on Facebook Marketplace or using Instagram, the e-commerce platform through Instagram, or really should they be investing in something that's a bit more robust and will last longer and be more controllable for them?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that if you're Hillsies, then give us a call, because yeah, I'd love to do Hillsies website, because I've worked in fashion retail for so long. But I mean, if you're a shop owner and and people aren't coming through your door and you're committed to having staff and stuff like that, then now's a good time to get your stock, take photos of it, and whether you put it on a DIY platform or a social media platform to sell it is up to you. But now's a good time to kind of get yourself in a place where you can do stuff like that. If you've, it's a good way of feeling as though you're doing something, contributing towards your company, rather than just sitting around hoping that this is going to end.
That's right.
But yeah, there's so many options. I think what I've tended to see is that people will build a platform and then they'll integrate into the social media rather than use social media as a primary thing. But I mean, that like, as an independent, if you're selling, say, handmade jewelry or something, and you might want to just use Instagram because your pieces are small. But if you're a retailer, there'll be a certain kudos involved in not having a website that people might say, well, how come you haven't got a website? I guess that is like trying to operate without a business card. It's just one of them things. So
sure.
So I would recommend having it, and then if you're gonna, maybe don't go too cheap on it, so that you've got, don't have the Wix logo on the bottom of your website, because it kind of looks like you're a cheapskate.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a bad time for retailers, and like I say, if you've got spare capacity and staff, then it's a great time to get them kind of trained up. There's a big workflow learning curve in running a business. So I was at the shed yesterday, and they're fulfilling orders, like pre-order boxes, and then while I was there, someone was like, "Oh, such and such didn't get their eggs in their box." So, and this kind of thing happens all the time in fulfilling online orders, that someone will put something in the wrong box. There needs to be a workflow, and it's really confusing to begin with. So Donna's just sorted out a spreadsheet so that she's got everyone organised and can tick them off and say what's what, and that runs all the way through. To the point where, I mean, eventually you might be scanning stuff as you put it in the box, and you have someone that will check it, and then there's Zendesk. So you've got so many inquiries coming from different, like Chris was saying, that I've put it out there, please email me your orders. Next thing you know, there's a text message, then there's a Facebook message.
I know.
Like, oh, God.
So many forms of communication available.
There's so many that how do you deal with that? So, but there are, I mean, these problems have been solved by people, and but what you'll find as you kind of dig deeper is that there's 1,000,001 third-party services, and they all charge about $30 a month. And you think, oh yeah, that's great, that's cheap, I'll get that because that's $1 a day. But when you've got 20, 30 of these services, then it adds up, and you're thinking, where did all that money go? So you've got to choose wisely, but they're fickle as well. So if you sign up to something, you can usually duck out of it if it's not working for you. And
monthly subscriptions as opposed to yearly.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Is especially kind of, if you're not sure about it, you might get a discount paying for a year, but it might not be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, what you touched on there about the stock, I think if you are in the consumer market, so business to consumer, it must just be so tricky to work that out for someone who doesn't understand e-commerce, or, you know, obviously there are specialists like yourself who do that. But I can imagine people might go into your website and buy your stock, and then you've got to work out how much you've got left, you know, how much more you've got to order in, and manage all that. And there's a lot involved. It's not that easy.
It's not easy, but it's like another shop. So you just have to think of it as that, and don't take on too much. I mean, if business owners probably started off as a one-man band, and like that's how potentially it could be if you're going to do your own website. Is that you're going to be, if it was a bricks and mortar, you're going to be putting those shelves up. You're going to be painting the floor, or not painting the floor, but painting the walls. You're going to be sealing the floor. You're going to be cleaning the toilets. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be setting up the till system. So, you know, I guess delegate. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I'm the person you might delegate to, but like delegate the tasks out to experts if you're up against it. If you've got all the time in the world, or you know, you haven't got any money whatsoever and you've just got heaps of time, then look into it yourself and do it yourself. Because eventually, when you do get big enough to farm out the work, then it's going to be handy for you to know what's involved anyway, so that you don't get taken for a ride by someone who promises you SEO or, you know, top results or whatever. You know, it's good to have some basic knowledge.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So that you don't get ripped off in the future.
No one likes getting ripped off.
No.
No, and it's easy because you can easily just go to a website, think, oh, this looks great, you know, and then pay the money, and then nothing happens after. And it turns out the people are on the other side of the world, and you know, what do you do? So trust is a massive issue, which is why reviews have all, you know, have been like the benchmark even since eBay. Reviews are so important because trust is everything. So.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't buy something on eBay without a pretty high percentage review, would you? So yeah, it's a good point.
But we all have. So,
free watch. Yeah, I'll have a go at that.
Oh geez, that reminded, free watch thing reminded me. Sorry to interrupt. Is that internet fraud is it seems as though over the years the customers have always thought, I don't want to deal with this company because I don't know whether they're legit or not. It turns out that it's the customers that are the dodgy ones, not the companies. The companies have like spent time usually to, you know, I'm going opposite to what I've just said, but the security issue is mainly with customers using fraudulent cards. It's not with the company that you've given the money to. So I haven't got any statistical backup, but why I said that was because early days for Wellgosh, the company that I've done most of my work with, the frauds always threw in a watch, and we don't know why, but they put a fraudulent order in for a pair of jeans and whatever, and then there'd be a Casio G-Shock on the order. So that was our early fraud monitoring, was did they order a watch? and if they did, then we'd investigate. It was so weird. it was really odd. Like
still haven't got my watch.
So fun.
So yeah, the free watch theory is like was one of our major security kind of filters back in the day. So yeah.
Once you do get your online presence up and running with your e-commerce shop there, Justin, saying online it's pretty challenging these days. You know, there's a lot of noise out there. What are some of the I guess effective ways to reach your audience without spending a major fortune?
I think it sounds weird, but like to spend as much time offline as you can, and just pick the phone. I mean, one of the questions that Simona sent me earlier was what piece of software would you recommend to people, and I was thinking about it, but the most successful piece of software that I think out there is WhatsApp, and
Wow.
the amount of business that happens on WhatsApp I've seen is amazing, because you're just making, you're talking to people. It's just a case of talking to people and keeping in touch with people. Don't go quiet. And I think that works more than anything. And
So do you mean to like reach potential clients or audiences through direct messaging?
Well, if you're struggling and you're just setting up, then you need to tap up all the people you already know.
Yeah.
So that's where you can ping a message to such and such and say, look, I've just set up a shop. Can you buy something off it from me? Or share it with your people, or, and just try and get it out there with people that you already know that, are going to spread the word for you. Because it doesn't cost you anything. And the SEO stuff can come, down the line, or advertising, like Facebook ads is probably one of the fastest ways to burn money I've ever seen. You can just rip through money, and you think, what is actually happening? So, but I've seen campaigns work really well. So it's just a case of knowing your audience and knowing how much you want to spend and how much it's actually worth to you. I mean, I've always kind of, going back to the offline thing, I think some of the campaigns that we've had with WildRush would have been better just throwing a big party, spending the money on that, because because it just, the experience that you give people is worth, more. Something tangible is worth more. And I've seen competitions where, they've given away a gardening glove and they've had thousands of entries, and that it's cost them $10.
Gardening glove, I'll write that down.
And,
we'll have to use that.
Yeah, we're all
one.
going to go to Bunnings now.
Yeah, exactly.
So there'll be no toilet roll and there'll be no gardening gloves in Boston.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, competitions. Everyone loves competitions. So that's another tip, to try and get yourself like a quick following. Is just put it out there. And one of the ones that I saw that was the best one I've ever seen was about 12 years ago. It's a company called End Clothing. They decided to promote $1 million giveaway. But what they did was they gave well, it wasn't really dollars, it was £1 million actually. So they gave away a £10 gift voucher to the first 100,000 people that followed them, which is £1 million.
Yeah.
But I mean, they jumped up, by tens of thousands during that campaign. It was just, I mean, they're sitting on, I think, 3 million followers on Instagram alone now. So
wow.
So it's just like that big burst and like that snowball effect, and just the sticky ball and all those theories. It's just kind of the more, if you can gain momentum in something and just ride the wave. But that's a good one. The local term, just ride the wave.
Yeah.
Like, if you can feel it, you can feel it coming. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be expensive, and depending on your business, I mean, there's no point in doing a fun giveaway if you're like quite a straight-laced company. But there's heaps of fun companies around here. So, and there's always we're surrounded by wineries, so there's no shortage of prizes that you could give away.
That's right.
I might be drinking a couple of prizes later on tonight, I think.
That's right. We're recording this on a Friday, so.
Yeah, exactly.
It's isolation. It doesn't need to be a Friday, Simona.
That is very true. Yeah.
That's right. And like, just imagine that, because the borders are sealed, but like, just imagine they never reopen them. So we'd have to only
drink the stock.
And it'd be wine and crayfish. So
and salmon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
lovely Australian Jewfish.
So that's it. So I mean, this area is brilliant, and it's just a case of riding it and making sure that your businesses and your families and everyone's kind of ticking over. So and like e-commerce is one way that everyone knows that it's been going that way for years and years. It's just if if this happens to be the push that gets you there, then so be it. It is what it is. But it's not too late, and it doesn't have to be expensive if if you're willing to kind of take a steep learning curve, or rely on people that have been doing it for quite a long time. So.
Mm.
That's fantastic, Justin. Really good tips there. I think I'll go away and have a think about some of the stuff you've just said. I'll go get some gardening gloves, I think, and put it on our website.
Yeah, right.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for imparting all this knowledge. Now, before you go, what would you like to leave with the business and local community? What sort of knowledge or advice would you like to impart?
Can I give a teaser on the community commerce project?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
So I've been working on a project with Emma Morgan to help to pretty much start a community commerce where local businesses can get online and sell their stuff really quick and free of charge. So I'm working on that at the moment, and you'll be able to. It's like a marketplace. So we'll be highlighting local businesses, and the transactions will all be secure and within the framework that I've built. So yeah, that's really exciting news. So yeah,
brilliant.
It should be good.
So when are you launching the marketplace, just out of interest? Soon.
So at the moment we're collecting vendors together, so as soon as we get enough people that we think, I think if we get 10 really good vendors, then we'll start kind of inviting people in. I've done the test transactions already, so it's looking good, and everyone that I speak to about it is like, oh wow, it's quite exciting, really.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, congrats to you and Emma for putting our Southwest website together. It's a fantastic resource, and look forward to seeing the e-commerce section of that grow.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers,
we look forward to interviewing you and Emma when it's up and running, so we can maybe get a sneak peek of how it's going to work. Because I think it's exciting for the region. Yeah, for sure. And like in dog years, it's like it'd probably be next week. So so things are moving fast, and so it might be next week that we release a beta version of it at least. That's what we're hoping anyway. So we're just kind of working around the clock, and the days are merging into each other. So like I said earlier, there's no school holidays for our kids. They don't even know about it. So and we're working weekends, and so it's just it's kind of all just merging in together. Yeah. It's good. It's creative, and it's building innovation within us to do something different. It's great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So nice one, guys. Thank you.
Well, before you go, where can people reach out to you? Where can they find you in case they need some help?
On my website, so 0ad.com.au, or they can contact me and Emma on our southwest.com.au. Perfect. Or I'm on LinkedIn, Justin Vee Liu on LinkedIn. So yeah, just ping me, and if I can answer it, and it doesn't cost me anything to answer a question. Yeah, the answer might be no, but so no, it costs me anything. So, but yeah, and it's a great opportunity for us to meet people because we're newbies in the area. So yeah, do it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good luck with it, Justin. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Andrew.
Coming on.
Good luck. Thanks you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Right, we'll
Bye.
Thanks, Justin.